All right,
So,
there we go.
yeah.
So first things first, some basic rules for the class, meaning basic netiquette rules. First, regarding sound and silence, please keep your microphones on mute when you're not speaking. I don't need to hear your parents, your dog, your neighbor, or if you're having a conversation with another person. None of us need to hear that, especially if you want to keep those kinds of things private. The second thing that I would recommend regarding muting and unmuting is that you wait and see, meaning that when you unmute, you wait a second before you start speaking so that nothing is lost. We live in Paraguay. Sometimes we have slow internet, sometimes our internet is slow to react. So give it a second, and especially if I'm saying something, and you might have missed something I said because of your connection or because of the internet in general, then just please let us know through any means possible. Meaning you can unmute yourself, you can raise your hand by using the little tool to raise your hand, or you can use one of the very beneficial tools that we have here through this platform and through many other platforms, which is the chat box. The chat is a great tool. However, we have to use the chat correctly. First things first, we stay on topic. Um, the conversations in the chat are usually for the students with the teachers or the professors, not for you guys to have other side conversations. And another thing regarding the chat box, if you're going to ask a question through the chat because for some reason you don't want to or you cannot use your microphone, read the chat and see if someone has not asked that specific question already. I am going to be going through the chat, and of course, Miss Garcia is also going to be going through the chat to check all of the messages that go through there. Now, we talked a little bit about this already, especially in some specific cases just now. Even though we are behind screens, we are still a group of people, and we are still trying to, in a way, work like a community of learning. Meaning, number one, your display name, which you can modify, which you can go to participants, go to your name, and you can rename yourself in the three little dots. It's very important that it matches your real name, meaning first name and last name. Please avoid using names like Chiquitita or Cool Gamer or User123 or whatever. Use your name and your last name. Otherwise, your attendance is not going to be easy to keep track of. And if we see in the log that your name is not there, then you are not present for that meeting, even if you participated. Next thing that I also wanted to um, talk a little bit about regarding presence is having what I name camera courtesy. If you have a camera, please have your camera on. If you don't want to show us your room, there are many options that you can use. For example, a plain background that Zoom gives you many options to use, or you blur your background. If your camera, for some reason, cannot be on, then please use a clear profile picture of yourself so I know who I'm talking to. I know we all have our favorite anime characters. I know we all have our favorite superheroes. I know we all have our favorite characters. But please use a profile picture for yourself. For today, we didn't have that rule yet for now. So for next meetings, please, I don't want to be talking to Spider-Man. I don't want to be talking to an anime character. And last but not least, if you disconnect, don't worry about it. You can try and reconnect whenever you can. In the meeting logs, it will appear as you disconnected and then you reconnected. That does not count towards your harming your attendance in any way, shape, or form. And last but not least, if you have a question, if you have a comment, if you have a suggestion, if you would like to participate in any way, shape, or form, please use the raise your hand feature. There is a button on this app on Zoom, which is specifically used to raise your hand, and it will show for me and for everybody else. It will show in the participants list, it will show in the profile picture or in the open camera that you have that there are people with their hands raised, and we will go one by one answering the questions. Is anything regarding the rules in any way, shape, or form a doubt? Are there any questions about how attendance is going to work? All right. I have no answers. I see a lot of people who don't have a camera on yet, so I will assume for today that you cannot have a camera on. But then again, common courtesy and respect would be that if I am having a camera on, you should be having a camera on as well. If you cannot have a camera on for a specific reason today or for a specific reason in a specific day, then just write it down on the chat, Professor. I don't know, a dog ate my computer and I'm using my cell phone. Write whatever reason it is that you cannot turn your camera on. Again, if you don't want to show your room, you don't have to show your room. You can use the blur feature. All right. That is it for rules. Unless
Okay,
I'm forgetting it.
no, I think
Yes.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
So today we'll do our first class on critical thinking, what it is, and how do we apply it. And we're going to be looking at 2 examples of the topics we talked about last week. We're going to work with the plow and an eye for an eye again. And we're going to use the structure that is called claim evidence warrant. And yeah, Professor Evers?
All right. Can you give me permission to share things in the meeting?
Yes, I already did.
Okay.
Just let me know if it worked. Yes.
There we go. All right, so you can see my screen. This material is going to be available in the platform. You will be able to check it again. Also the whiteboards, meaning the notes that we take and the notes that we take as a group. We'll also try to upload those to the whiteboard so that we have as much information as possible. You are also free to take notes in whatever shape you want. You can take notes by hand, you can take notes in docs, you can take notes in Word, whichever way you want. However, there are some specific notes that are part of the class that are going to be part of your attendance. What does that mean? That we're going to do some activities during the virtual class in which you participate with your small group, usually groups of up to 5 people, usually random groups, in which you will use a function called the whiteboard that I will show you how to use. That's the reason why we're using Zoom. Um, Miss Garcia, yeah, I think Miss Garcia is the one who paid for the
Professor, are you still there? I think we lost him. Let me just check.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Professor.
All right, yay, Paraguay. Let's celebrate how humble we are. Okay, fantastic. My internet had a little hiccup. Where did you guys miss me?
You were talking about the whiteboard and how we are going to
Mm-hmm.
supposed to use it, I think.
Yes, yes. And I will show you how to use the whiteboard. Okay, so we didn't miss that much. Okay, so hopefully my internet doesn't die again. I was going to try and diagnose and reconnect and everything, but it magically showed up again. So let us get started. Um, I don't want to share it. I want to use slideshow. There we go. Okay, so the class today is going to have two theoretical parts. Basically, two parts where I'm going to be explaining things, and two sort of discussion parts, more practical parts, more hands-on parts. So the first two parts is me explaining things, especially how thinking and how writing and how your production is going to work. So first things first, we have to make some definitions, and then we have to give you the model, the specific things that we want you to use. And then we're going to use the two discussions that we've already used last class to illustrate this model of thinking. So let's start with what is critical thinking. Critical thinking is something that many people have many definitions for, but for our purposes, quick and dirty, it would be your ability to demonstrate that you have been paying attention and that you understand the content of the class. It will be your ability to demonstrate understanding and not memory. Quick example. If I say, for example, what are the socioeconomical conditions that changed during the Industrial Revolution, and you write an essay about what the Industrial Revolution is, you get a zero because that does not demonstrate critical thinking. Okay? That is the opposite of critical thinking. That is just whatever you have in your memory and explaining something to me that I already know. Okay, so let's go part by part. We have many different quotes and many different definitions, but let's start with some specific ones. Can I have a couple of volunteers? Let's have one volunteer per quote or definition. Let me see. Sorry. All right. So I have three people. I have Isaac, I have Fiorella, and I have Valeria. Those were the three people that I saw. At least that was the order that I saw the hands getting raised. Sorry. Let's go with Isaac. Could you tell me what critical thinking is? Basically, the first text.
Do you want me to read it out loud, or do you want me to tell you about my own definition?
For now, I would like you to read out loud.
Yep. Okay. What is critical thinking? Mental
Mm-hmm.
processes that search for the truth or the best possible decision, analyzing not only external information, but also our own way of thinking.
Now, since you mentioned your own definition or your own understanding, is this different from your own understanding of critical definition, or how is your definition of critical thinking similar or different from this?
Honestly, I think like the core message or the core definition of this, it's pretty similar to mine. And in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, I think that critical thinking, it's just a deeper way of thinking about something. Like for
All right.
example, in social studies, like we can analyze different aspects of history and we think
Mm-hmm.
deeper, which is why it's critical. It's
Yes.
critical thinking. Yeah.
Yes, perfect. And also important to highlight that it is not only about external information and, for example, the content that we do in social studies, but also how we understand the content that is being presented to us, meaning how we process that content, meaning our own way of thinking and perceiving the content. Thank you very much, Isaac. Let's go with, I forgot who was second, so let's go with Valeria. Valeria, what do Facione, Paul, and Elder tell us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay. It is composed by the abilities to analyze, interpret, infer, and auto-regulate thought that we are developed from attitudes towards open-mindedness and cognitive flexibility.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Valeria. Keywords in this specific definition is open-mindedness and cognitive flexibility. So, I may offend some people. If you are extremely racist or if you are extremely fundamentalist, then your critical thinking is limited because of the specific characteristics that reject open-mindedness and reject cognitive flexibility. Okay, so these as kinds of characteristics need to be present in order for critical thinking to be able to happen. Okay, and another person that we had was let me check, Fiorella, I think. What does the Lord tell us?
All human beings must be prepared to develop their own autonomous and critical thoughts and put forward their own judgment values so that they can decide by themselves how to act in different life circumstances.
Very good. Thank you, Fiorella. So, their own thoughts, their own judgment values, deciding by themselves, meaning it's not just a repetition of an opinion I'm supposed to have, or a judgment I'm supposed to have, or a direct conclusion from watching one news channel, for example. There is always something more complicated than what is being presented. There is always some deeper analysis that we ourselves can do instead of just introjecting whatever it is that is being said to us. Okay? So, first things first, thinking about the way we think. Second, open-mindedness and cognitive flexibility. And third, being able to have your own judgment, your own critical thought, your own ability to decide without having someone telling you what it is that you're supposed to decide. Okay? All right. Why is my thingy? There we go. All right. So, one more, just to sort of round out critical thinking. I know I had one extra volunteer who lowered their hand, but I don't remember who it was. But now I see Estrella. So, Estrella, if you'd be so kind, go ahead.
Okay. And critical thinking is that mode of thinking about any subject, content, or problem, in which the thinker improves the quality of their thinking by skillfully taking charge of the structure inherent in thinking.
Very good. Excellent. So, in a way, this quote, this specific quote, talks about how critical thinking works. There are different ways to think, and one of them is to think critically. One of the modes of thinking is to think critically, critical thinking. It can be about any subject, it can be about any content, and it can be about any problem, but it means that you take charge of what is happening in your mind. You take charge of the structures, your prejudices, your positionality, which will be explaining later, your context, your past experience, having those conscious so that we can better understand why we are thinking the things that we are thinking, bringing those things into the conscious area of our understanding and of our thinking in order to analyze something. And it is a way to think, essentially. Okay. So, you've all here have written essays. You've all here have probably seen the most common, the most proliferated type of essay, which is the 5-paragraph essay, which is where you have something you say, and then you have 3 paragraphs, one for each example, and then you have a cool conclusion. Okay. That's cool. That's sure, perfect. That's okay. But we're gonna have to go a little bit deeper than that. We can still have our essays be 5 paragraphs. There's nothing wrong with that number of paragraphs. But we are going to want to see, and by we, I mean me, Professor Evers, and Professor Garcia, we are going to want to see specific things in your essays that demonstrate critical thinking, and by demonstrating critical thinking, demonstrate understanding of the content that we're working with. If at any moment I am moving too fast, or you lose me, or I don't know, maybe someone has lost track of anything, please, you can just raise your hand. You can use the chat. Don't let me just continue and lose you if you feel that you've lost something. I know I've lost myself sometimes during class when the professor continues a lot. So please let me know if you've lost me at some point. So there are 3 things that are going to be important to us. We've chosen this specific structure, these specific concepts, because there are other ways of thinking about arguments that have more elements, and this only has 3. Okay, we have to worry about only these 3 things. And when we cover these 3 bases, we can, in a way, say that our argument is sound, our argument is valid, our argument is reliable. Our argument is good, basically, what it says on the screen. So let's examine a bit what these 3 things are. So CEW, claim, evidence, and warrant. It's hard to have a specific definition, a specific translation, a direct translation to Spanish. So we're gonna use the concepts in English. A claim is a statement. A claim is a statement that you assert to be true, that you say is true, that is not necessarily true. It's something you are claiming, but it's essentially what you want other people to also see as true. Okay, so a claim can be at the start, like, for example, if you've heard of a thesis statement, but the claim is essentially what you want other people to understand, what you want other people to accept, or what you want other people to agree with you, for example. So a claim can be, I have a garden, and my garden will grow nicely. It will have pretty little flowers. It will have lots of fruits because something. Okay, so the claim is my garden will be cool. My garden will grow nicely. My garden is going to be the best garden. Any of those kinds of sentences are claims, because I am claiming something. I am asserting something. I am saying that something is true. Now, in order for that to support itself, I need to prove it. I need to provide evidence. I need to demonstrate. I need to give, like what we have here, I need to give data, facts, or examples, or all of them, that support my claim. So in this specific case, where I claimed that I'm going to have the best garden ever, my evidence is the amount of times it rained. It rained a lot. That is my evidence that my garden is going to be cool because it rained a lot. So it means the plants, it means something. My evidence is the amount of rain that there was. And there is a warrant. There is a assumption. There is something that is supposed to establish a connection, which is essentially the connection between your evidence and what you claimed before and what you asserted to be true. So the warrant is the often hidden assumption that connects your evidence to your claim. What is my warrant in this case? If I say my garden will grow nicely, and in another sentence I say it rained a lot, the warrant is that plants grow better after it rains. So it's a connection, it's an assumption that connects the evidence and the claim. Does this make sense? I am looking at your faces. If I see confused faces or if I see faces that say, okay. Are we okay so far? Can I get an okay sign at least in the little symbols? There we go. I have a couple. I have a lot. Perfect. I have a party of okay signs. All right. So far we have claims, things we assert, things we say are true. We have evidence, which are data, facts, examples, etc. And we have a warrant, a connection, a assumption between what the evidence is providing and the claim that I have made. So we've seen this in the last class. We've seen this claim, this statement last class, and we discussed it a little bit as well. So we're gonna use it today to practice our claims, our evidence, and our warrant structure. So our example was that the plow is the most significant invention in human history. Now, can I get a volunteer to read this part? Okay, so Camila, could you tell us a little bit about?
Yes. Before the plot, humans were hunter-gatherers or hoe-based or horticulturalists. The
Mhm.
plow changed everything. It allowed humans to break heavy soils, produce food surpluses, and settle permanently. Villages became towns, and towns became cities.
Perfect. So in this specific slide, we have text that is claiming things, and we also have a little bit of explanation or a little bit of data. But we also have a picture. Now, a picture is also a way information is being conveyed. This is going to be more and more important when we touch on multimodality. But essentially, we have here two different types of texts. One text that has letters and another text that has colors and shapes. Does that make sense? We have two sources of information on screen right now. All right, so next part. Who's my next volunteer? All right, go ahead, Adriana.
You can read first and then I read the next one.
Okay. I didn't see a hand raised, so whoever said me, please go ahead.
Writing law, trade, taxation, standing armies, social hierarchy, none of these existed before the plow. The wheel, the printing press, the internet, all built on the foundation of the plow. No plow, no civilization as we know it.
Perfect. Very good. And Adriana, since you volunteered as well, what other text do we have? What can we also read besides words?
The picture with the farmers and the animals.
Uh-huh. So we have animals, we have farmers, we have crops, we have
Houses.
houses, we have boxes of things. All of those are telling us specific things. So what we are going to do is let's do this. Let's do it as easy as possible. You can take a picture. Yes, Isaac, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question. Are these slides available in the platform?
Yes, they are.
Great.
Yes, they should be available in the platform already. For this activity that we're going to do in groups, I would like you to also have this information. I would like you to have this slide number 1, this slide number 2, and this slide number 3. The easiest, quickest way I can think about it is for you guys to just take a picture or to use the snipping tool in Windows if you know how to use that. If you don't, just take a picture with your phones. Otherwise, you're gonna have to copy the whole text. We don't really have time to copy the whole text. I don't want you to copy the whole text. So take a picture of this slide. Let me know when you have this slide. Let's do it as quickly as possible.
The file is also in the chat if you want to have the PDF.
Or you can download the file that is in the chat. That would be easier. You can download the slide. You can download, and this is slide, let me see. This is slide number 9. So 9, 10, and 11. 9, 10, and 11 are the ones that we are going to use. So for slides 9, 10, and 11, we have information and the activity, the part that we want you guys to do is to answer these 3 questions. So there is a claim, there is an evidence, and there is a warrant. And in order to better identify those, we have some guidance here. For the claim, write what is being argued, what is being asserted, what is being presented as true, and try to do that in one sentence. For the evidence, you write one from the text and one from the visuals. So there are many different, or there can be several different evidences, but I would like you guys to find one in the text and find one in the pictures. So remember what evidence is. Evidence is something that can be data, fact, or example to support the claim. And the last one, the question is, how does the evidence support the claim? How does the data or example or fact support the claim? Give me 1 second. I'm going to there we go. And there we go. Good thing I am not sharing my sound. There we go. That should solve it. Okay, sorry about that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to separate you into different groups. Now, you're going to see yourselves for a second, so don't be scared, because I'm going to show you what I want you to do. I'm going to send you into different groups. You're going to have a group of 5 people, right? And you're going to go, one of you in the group, one of you is going to go down here in this bottom part of the screen. And if you don't see a button that says whiteboard, that means that you have to click in this button that says more. Okay, so you click on this more button. And then in
We are
this
not
more,
seeing your Zoom. We are seeing your critical thinking slides.
you're seeing my critical thinking slides. Okay, so bye-bye critical thinking slides. What do you see now?
Your desktop.
Okay, so I'm going to reshare. What do we see now?
Tail test.
Okay, so let's share. Like that?
Yes.
Does that work? All right,
Yes.
perfect. Sorry about the technical issues. Okay, so back from the start. You are going to be separated into groups automatically. You're not going to have to choose which group to join to, where I am going to make random groups for today. Once you are in your groups, one person is going to go down here and you're going to see if you have a button here that says whiteboard. If you don't see a button that says whiteboard, you click on more and then, oh my God, there it is, the button that says whiteboard. Once you click on whiteboard, you will see what happens is, do you want a new whiteboard or do you want an existing whiteboard? All of the different groups are going to make a new whiteboard. So we click on new whiteboard and you're going to see, I'm going to stop sharing and a whiteboard is going to appear. It takes a second to load, but then once the whiteboard appears, you can see your own cursor and you can see my cursor again. So for example, I can write hello. If I see a penis, I'm going to put you as absent and I'm going to kick you out of the class, okay? So no weird stuff. So this is a whiteboard. It's very fun to draw on the whiteboard, but something that is going to be much useful for you is to be able to take notes. So if you look at my cursor, I am going to go on the left here, and on the left here, there is one button that says sticky note. So I click on sticky note and I can add a sticky note to the whiteboard. And for example, I can say, is our claim something, something? I can use sticky notes. If you don't want to use sticky notes, you can also just use plain text. So you click on the text button, the T. I hope you guys are paying attention because I see a lot of drawings and I am assuming you're just having fun. But because this is not really that difficult, you click on sticky notes to add sticky notes, and you click on text to add texts, then I assume you're going to be able to do this on your own. Because this here, this one is my whiteboard. You guys in your group are going to open a new whiteboard. Remember, when you click on the whiteboard button, it says existing or new. You're going to create a new one. What I ask you to do, what I ask you to please do, is on the top left here, the person who created the whiteboard is going to have the option to name the whiteboard. In order to make it easier for us professors to do the attendance and to do the class participation and to take a look at your notes, on the top left, I would like you to write group 1 or group 2 or group 3 whiteboard. What do you need to do? 2 things. Make a whiteboard, name your whiteboard the name of your group. Does that make sense? Show me those thumbs up. All right, perfect. There are the thumbs ups. I'm gonna stop sharing the whiteboard now. All right, so I am going to make breakout rooms. I am going to make, how many are you? You are 33 people. 33 divided by 5, that will be 6. 6 or, yeah, just make 6 groups. Okay, so automatically, not me, you don't choose, you go to your rooms, etc. All right, so I'm gonna create breakout rooms, which are basically smaller meetings. Ms. Garcia and I are going to be checking on you to see if you understand the activity. The activity is, what is the claim, what are the 2 pieces of evidence, and what is the warrant for the plow text. Okay, and you guys take notes in your whiteboard. Also, in order to make it easier for us and to ensure that we have all of the attendance, you can also put your names in your group's whiteboard. That way, we know that everybody participated during the discussion. Mr. Isaac, yes, go ahead.
Yes, how many minutes do we have for the activity?
I love your enthusiasm, Isaac, but I was just getting to that. But yes, very important. Usually we go for 20 minutes for class discussions, but since today we're going to have 2 discussions to really drive home the claim, this is going to be just 10 minutes. So try to be as quick as possible. Actually, very pertinent question. Normally, 20 minutes or more, but for today, 10 minutes, okay? So once I hit this create button that you cannot see right now, but once I hit this create button, you have 10 minutes to find the 3 things that we want and put them in a whiteboard. You can discuss with each other, you can propose with each other, and make sure you put the names of everybody in the whiteboard. Make sure you always create a new whiteboard, not an existing one. All right, create. I have created, and I have 6 rooms. So I haven't opened the rooms yet. So you're going to see which room you are on, and it's going to say room 1, room 2, room 3, whatever. That is the number of your group to put as the name of your whiteboard. All right. Hopefully that's clear enough. Let's go ahead and do this. It is now in my computer 17:48. So at 17:58, I will close all of the groups and I will return you all to me again with my magic, with my Zoom magic. All right, bye. Now you can go. I think we can stop the recording if we're not really going to do anything for 10 minutes.